Hello students and welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Shefali Nagpal from Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya. Today we are going to talk on module Modes of Entering in Business Environment Part 2 under the paper International Business Operations. After completing this module, the students will be clear about the different modes of entry like management contracts, local manufacturing in foreign countries, foreign direct investment, wholly owned subsidiaries, strategic alliances, acquisition, joint venture, the pros and cons of different methods, comparative study of different methods. As we discussed in the previous module, that entering a new market is always risky business with a big potential of failure. There are various options of entering into foreign markets and research can help in determining which strategy to use. The major question that the company faces in today's cosmic economy is what is most suitable and appropriate way for a company to go global, to go beyond its border and enter unpracticed territories of foreign sand. The companies are very skeptical regarding the profitability and safety of the decisions. Companies can adopt strategic alliances method or standalone entry modes of doing business depending upon resources, market, host country environment. In the previous module, we have studied few methods of entering into the foreign markets. In this module, we'll continue to discuss the other modes of entering into foreign markets. Management contracts. The international management contract gives the right to the company to control the day-to-day operations in a firm located in the foreign market. Often this contract do not give them the right to take decision on new capital investment, policy changes, assume long-term debt or alter ownership arrangement. When a manufacturer want to enter a management contract, they seldom do so isolated from the other arrangements. A management contract is a low-risk method of getting into foreign market and it yields income from the beginning. It is an agreement by which a company provides managerial assistance to the another company in return for a fee. The firm providing the management know-how may not have any equity stake in the enterprise to be managed. The supplier brings together a package of skills that will provide an integrated service to the client without incurring the risk and benefit of ownership. The agreement becomes more lucrative if the contracting firm is given an option to purchase some shares in the managed company within a stated period. Management contracts can also be used in case of operation of a firm are nationalized or expropriated. In certain situations, the government pressures and restrictions compel a foreign company either to sell its operation in the host country or to relinquish control. In such a case, an alternative way to generate revenue is to sign a management contract with the government or the new owner in order to manage the business. The new owner may lack technical and managerial expertise and may need the former owner to manage the investment until local employees are trained to manage the facility. Management contracts provide an opportunity for getting additional revenues for the managing company. It may obtain the business of exporting or selling otherwise products of the managed company. It may also be asked to supply the inputs that the managed company requires. Some of the Indian companies like Tata Tea, Harrison, Malayalam and ABT have contracts to manage a number of plantations in Sri Lanka. Approach to overseas manufacturing. The various approaches to foreign manufacturing vary in the extent of involvement in production and marketing activities. These approaches are as follows. 1. Contract manufacturing. This entry mode is a cross between licensing and investment entry. The company contracts a firm in the foreign market to assemble or to manufacture the products, but they still have the responsibility of marketing and distribution of those products. The entry mode requires minimum investment of cash, time, and executive talent. It also provides the fast entry into the new market. On the other hand, it also has the potential as formidable drawbacks like training of the potential competitors that have access to know-how and high quality products. Moreover, the profit from the manufacturing is transferred to the contractor. Under the contract manufacturing, a company arranges to have its product manufactured by an independent local company on the contractual basis. The manufacturer's responsibility is limited to the production. Afterwards, the marketing responsibility for the sale, for the promotion, for the distribution are assumed by the international company. In a way, the international company hires the production capacity of the local firm to avoid establishing its own plant or to overcome trade barriers preventing import of its product. Contract manufacturing differs from the licensing. The local manufacturer produces the goods on the basis of the orders given by the international firm, but the international firms give no commitment beyond the replacement of orders. However, the quality control is usually a problem when production is undertaken by another firm. The other factor is foreign assembly. In foreign assembly, the firm produces domestically all or a set of components or input of a product and ships them to the foreign markets for assembling. Assembling means fitting or joining together of fabricated components. In this strategy, the parts of components are produced in various countries in order to gain each part may be produced in advanced nation while labor-intensive assemblies are produced in less developed countries having low labor costs. This strategy is common among manufacturers of consumer electronics. Another reason of encouraging the assembly operation is lower import duties on parts and components than on the finished goods. Moreover, assembly operations can satisfy the local content demanded to some extent. Local manufacturing in foreign countries. Sometimes the exporting firms may find it either impossible or undesirable to supply all foreign markets from its domestic base. The goal of the manufacturing strategy may be set up a production base inside the target market country as a means of entering it. Other variations of this method range from complete manufacturing to contract manufacturing or partial manufacturing. Many companies find it beneficial to manufacture locally rather than supplying the particular market with product produced elsewhere. There are several reasons why a company prefers to invest in manufacturing facilities abroad. The main reason include easy access to the raw material, lower labor cost, abundance of the other factors of production, for example, energy, reduced transportation cost and risk, market size, tariff barriers, and political considerations. Due to presence of these factors, the imported goods may become uncompetitive. Honda, with 68% of its cars sales coming from exports and 43% from US market, set up a plant in Ohio in order to avoid future problems. A gun manufacturing company, Beretta, set up a manufacturing facility for handguns in Maryland, USA, in order to meet the legal requirements that prohibit the import but not the sale of inexpensive short-barreled pistols. The positive factors may also encourage a firm to produce abroad. Some markets, like European Union, are large enough to ensure an efficient plant size. Also, the local production allows better attention to the local needs concerning product design, delivery, and service. Finally, the motivation behind the local location of the plant in foreign country may be reduced to cost reduction rather than enter new markets. Foreign direct investment. The Organization for the Economic Cooperation and Development define foreign direct investment as a category of investment that reflects the objective of establishing a lasting interest by a resident enterprise in one economy. In an enterprise, that is, direct investment enterprise, that is resident in an economy other than that of the direct investor. Foreign direct investment is a strategic approach. This entry mode offers high degree of control over the international business in the host country. This is high financial commitment mode, but also a transfer of technology, skill, management, manufacturing and marketing, production processes and other resources. To have unique asset or competitive advantage is often important when a firm wants to replicate their goods business in another country. According to, there are several factors that influence the foreign direct investment. Both mention size of the market as one of the crucial determinant to which the market the company shall choose to proceed with. Another is wholly owned subsidiary. Many organizations prefer to establish their presence in foreign markets with 100% ownership through the wholly owned subsidiaries. Under this method, organizations obtain greater control over operations and high profits since there is no ownership split arrangement. However, the entry mode method requires large investment and faces higher risk, especially in the political, legal, and economical arenas. There are two approaches for the wholly owned subsidiaries entry method. One is through acquisition and another is through greenfield investment. Greenfield investment means using the funds to build an entirely new facility. Though such approach entails full control and no risk of cultural conflicts. Its costs are extremely high and return on investments are obtained in the long run due to the extent of time required to build the facility, start operation and attain the economies of scale and the experience curve. In contrast, acquisition allows the organizations to get the foreign market faster. Organizations taking the acquisition approach use its fund to buy the existing facilities and operation. This is done by acquiring the equity of the firm that previously owned the facility. Advantages. There are several advantages of wholly owned subsidiaries. Firstly, when the firm's competitive advantage is based on technological competence, a wholly owned subsidiary will often be a preferred mode of entry because it reduces the risk of losing the control over that competence. Many technologically sound firms prefer this mode for entering the foreign market. Secondly, the wholly owned subsidiary give a firm tight control of the operation in different countries. Lastly, the wholly owned subsidiary may be required if firm is trying to realize location and experience curve of the economies. This is considered to be most costly method of serving a foreign market. Firms choosing this mode of entry has to incur total capital cost and undertake the risk of setting up overseas operations. The risks are a bit lower if host country enterprise is acquired, but acquisitions has different set of problems. But the decision is to go for acquisition or greenfield ventures is very crucial. The disadvantages of having a wholly owned subsidiaries are, they include the inadequacy of capital resources, shortage of management personnels, negative host government and public relations effect. Further, 100% ownership may deprive the firm of the local business and cultural knowledge and contracts of the national partner. Now let us take a view at the summary of the advantages and disadvantages of the various entry modes. First is exporting. It has an advantage, like it has an ability to realize the location and experience curve economies. But the disadvantages on the contrast is it has a high transport cost, trade barriers, problem with the local marketing agents. Another mode of entry, licensing, the advantages are of low development cost and risk, whereas the disadvantages are lack of control over technology, inability to realize the location and experience curve economies, inability to engage in global strategic coordination. Another mode of entering the foreign business is franchising, which has an advantage of low development cost and risk, again similar to the licensing, but has the disadvantages of lack of control over quality, inability to engage in global strategic coordination. The another mode was joint ventures, which has the advantage of access to the local partners' knowledge, sharing the development cost and risk, and become politically acceptable. Whereas the disadvantages of joint ventures are lack of control over technology, inability to engage in global strategic coordination, and also the inability to realize the location and experience economies. Turnkey contracts are another mode of entering, which has the ability to earn returns from the process technology, skills in the countries where foreign direct investment is restricted. But at the same time, it experiences the disadvantages of creating efficient competitors, lack of long-term market presence. Similarly, in the wholly owned subsidiaries, they have the advantage of protection of technology, ability to engage in global strategic coordination, ability to realize location and experience economies. But they face the disadvantages of having the high cost and high risks. In the acquisitions, they are faster to start in the new market, new product line, and they also have the short payback periods. But at the same time, it becomes a disadvantage that the transfer of ownership and control. In the joint venture, the reduction in the capital risk, cost, and it leads to the competitive advantage. But it also faces the complexities involved in coordinating policies, decision, execution, and as well as the difference in the culture. Factors influencing the choice of entry strategy. The choice of the mode of entry cross-border markets is one of the strategic decisions which a multinational enterprise has to make before investing the resources in the foreign market. There is no specific rule to facilitate the choice of correct method, nor there is a single entry method which could meet the requirement of the different situations. Choice of a particular entry mode or method will therefore depend upon various factors. Usually, any company approaching a new market is looking for profitability and growth. Alternative entry mode. Another is joint ventures. A joint venture means establishing a firm that is jointly owned by two or more than two otherwise independent firms. This is a popular mode of entry. The term joint venture applies to those strategic alliances where there is equity participation from both the foreign entrant and the local collaborator. The equity participation can be of different ratios, ranging from a minority stake, equal stake to a controlling stake and more predominant majority stake. The advantages attached to this mode of entry are reduction in the capital risk because the costs are being shared, the benefit of the firm from local partner, knowledge of the host country, competitive conditions, culture, language, political system, and businesses are there. In many countries, political conditions dictate this entry to the only feasible mode of entry. Many companies avoid joint venture due to complexities involved in coordinating policies, decisions, and execution with a different company. Other drawbacks are distinct difference in the culture, managerial styles, and communication barriers. Strategic alliances. Strategic alliances have become popular in international business. This strategy seeks to enhance the long-term competitive advantage of the firm by forming alliances with its competitor instead of competing with each other. In an alliance, partners bring a particular skill or resource, usually one that is complementary. By sharing resources, both partners are expected to gain an advantage from the other's experience. In this arrangement, a new entity may or may not be formed. Typically, the alliances involves either distribution across technology, transfer, or production technology, with each partner contributing a different element to the venture. The automobile industry has witnessed many alliances for overseas operation. The Suzuki Motors Limited and Fuji Heavy Industries Limited of Japan have set up a joint plant in USA to build the cars for Fuji and trucks for Suzuki. On the same auto line, in India, Tata Tea has entered into the alliance with the Tetley so that the marketing experience of Tetley is available to the market tea abroad. The strategic alliances implies that there is a common objective. Second, that one partner weakness is offset by the another's strength. Third, that reaching the objective alone would be too costly, take too much time, or too risky. Then, together, their respective strength make possible what otherwise would be unattainable. In short, the strategic alliances is a synergetic relationship established to achieve a common goal where both parties benefit. Firms ally themselves with the actual or potential competitors for various strategic purposes. First, it may facilitate entry into the foreign market. For example, Motorola initially found it very difficult to gain the access of the Japanese cellular telephone market. In the mid of the 1980s, the firm complained loudly about the formal and the informal Japanese trade barrier. The turning point for the Motorola came in the year 1987 when it allied itself with the Toshiba to build microprocessors. As a part of the deal, Toshiba provided Motorola with the marketing help, including some of the best managers. This alliance also helped Motorola in securing the government approval to enter the Japanese market. Strategic alliances also allow the firms to share the fixed cost and associated risk of developing the new products or processes. Motorola alliance with Toshiba also was partially motivated by the desire to share the high fixed cost of Motorola and Toshiba. Each contributed to close $1 billion to set up their facility. The new firms can afford the cost and risk by themselves. Similarly, an alliance between the Boeing and the number of the Japanese companies to build the 767 was motivated by the Boeing desire to share the estimated $2 billion investment required to develop the aircraft. Another is acquisition. Acquisition is when a company buys an established business in the foreign market. This mode of entry has become very popular. The reasons for acquiring a foreign company may be a mix of the following, like geographical changes, acquiring of specific asset like management, technology, product diversification, sourcing of raw material or other products of sale outside the host country, or financial diversifications, etc. When you acquire a company, the success depends upon the selection process on which company to buy. Therefore, its possible advantages are not certain. The specific advantages can faster start in the new market due to the established firm, new product line and short payback period due to immediate income of the investors. The disadvantage, on the other hand, are transfer of ownership and control and hard to evaluate the prospects, but several of the advantages can turn into disadvantages if it is not handled in the right way. So students, let us now summarize what has been learnt in this module. In this module, we studied various modes of entering into the foreign country like management contracts, wholly owned subsidiaries, strategic alliances, joint ventures, acquisitions, though there are several advantages associated with each mode of entry, and these advantages have to be weighed against the pioneering cost that early entrants often have to bear, including the greater risk of business failure. There are several factors that are considered regarding which market to enter, when to enter, and on what scale. The most attractive foreign markets tend to be found in politically stable, developed, and developing nations that have free market systems and where there is not a dramatic upsurge in either inflation rates or private sector debts.